G'day trendsetters, Benny Mac here again. It's been a long time since our first episode of Wasted Food, but welcome to episode number 2 finally. Today we're going to do some spicy sliders with some sweet potato chips and a bit of a salsa dip. Let's be honest, I've started without you again, but that's okay. It's footy season. Let's plan for something good at half time, shall we? First and foremost, the salsa dip, because that takes a bit of time. I've written myself a recipe, right? I've jumped on the interwebs, and look, if you like it and you want the recipe, well then just watch the video again, because I've just shown you how to do it. Okay, so I've prepped a few bits and bobs before we got started. So we've got our brown onions, finely chopped, and a small green capsicum, our chilli. We'll just top and tail the chilli like that. Now, depending on how spicy you like your chilli, you're going to want to take the guts out of that, because that inner part is really going to rock you. Finely chopped, so not quite a dice, but reasonably close to it. I don't know if you've noticed, but worked on the old knife skills since episode 1. All right, let's get all that in together. Into the pan, we want our onion, chilli, capsicum, some tomato paste, which is apparently got a combination lock on it, but that's okay. We'll figure that out as we go along. A tin for 500 grams of diced tomatoes. Straight onto the heat, about 3/4 thereabouts. We'll bring it down to a rough simmer until it gets nice and thick. So we've got about 2 onions diced reasonably fine, some parsley. Just get it down nice and small into our diced onions, about a good hefty teaspoon worth. Again, you know, don't go bananas on the garlic because it will creep up on you. We're going to add some flavour to our mix. So we'll start with some Worcestershire sauce. Funny story about Worcestershire sauce. Everybody assumes that it started from Worcestershire in Great Britain, but there is no Worcestershire in Great Britain. Nobody knows. As far as I'm concerned, it comes from the bottle. Okay, so we want roughly a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Tabasco. You can add more should you wish. If you like it nice and spicy, go heavy on the Tabasco. I'll give it a few extras, why not? Sure, good. Don't mind it a bit spicy. Straight in, nothing fancy, and then get a good mix. When you're happy that it's all kind of incorporated in, is we're going to chuck that into the fridge, and we'll let that cool down so it's nice and chilly. That'll take about maybe half an hour or so. Just making some room in the fridge for the thing. We'll take out, you know, nearly an entire pumpkin. Coffee grounds. No, we'll leave the beer in there, that's fine. I can hear my salsa dip starting to boil up nicely. Give it a little stir, turn the heat down. Blend together quite nicely. We're going to take that off the heat until my cheap ass hob cools down. We'll turn it down to about a third. We'll pop it back on, we'll let it simmer for a spell. So we want some onion. Cannot have a decent burger without some fried onion on top. Right, as you can see, once again, not tucking my finger behind it because it's really awkward and I don't want to cut my finger. Ah! No, just kidding, it's fine. Just don't cut yourself. Said it once, said it 100 times. Don't cut yourself. You know, it's a slippery slope. Once you cut yourself once, you can cut yourself 100 times. Don't do it. And there we go. Now, like I said before, it's a spicy slider. So aside from our Tabasco, we're going to go with some jalapenos. Some nice slices, jalapeno peppers. Or, you know, if you're a real phonetic kind of folk, you know, jalapenos. I've just jalapenoed on the floor, that's fine. Prepping everything, getting everything ready, because the second it's time for the oven is when everything needs to come together all at once. So you're going to need to have a lot of things going at the same time. Best to prep this before the footy starts, because at half time, it needs to get straight into the oven and you're eating it by the time the third quarter kicks in. get our salsa dip back onto the heat. Now we're gonna let that just simmer for a little bit. We really want that to thicken up nicely. Onions here ready to go. They're gonna go into a fry pan in a little bit and we're gonna brown them up nice, get them nice and kind of caramelised for the top of our burger. You know what I forgot to do? I didn't add egg to our patty mix. So what the egg's gonna do, the egg is gonna bind the whole patty mix together. All right, see that? One-handed, professional as shit. Beat your egg, give it a good mix up, give it a little whiskey poo. In it goes. And I was thinking that little mix of the egg before was just far too easy. Not nearly messy enough. Let's get that in, that's better. Back into the fridge. Shit everywhere. Means you're doing a good job, I reckon. It's starting to thicken up nicely. We still want, we want that to reduce just a little bit more, not too much. Because we're gonna use this not just for our sliders, but we're gonna use this as a dip for our sweet potato fries. Everyone's crazy about these new age burger joints that do sweet potato fries and you know, everything that can be possibly fried as a chip form that aren't actually potato. We can start prepping our burgers now. Just any kind of roasting tray is good. Get yourself some rolls. Standard white rolls. I don't know why it took me so long to come up with the word rolls. We just want the bottom half to go into the tray to start with. All right, so now, once again, community warning. Be really careful. The last time I used this knife and cut rolls, I cut the sweet loving Jesus out of my hand. Halfway through, give it a flip. When all else fails, just drink. Numbs the nerve endings, just fine. It's gonna take a little while. I smell a montage coming on, to be fair. Righto. By now, our salsa dip has thickened up about as much as we want it to. We're gonna fry those onions that we cooked up before. So we need a fry pan. We'll let that heat come to heat. We'll chuck a little bit of, just belched. That's what I did. I don't know if I've had too much or not enough beers. Let's grab another one, shall we? Great idea. Grab some marge. That salsa dip, as it's cooling, is thickening up even more. It'll loosen when it goes into the oven with our sliders, so that's good, that's what we want. What I want is more beer. We're almost at the point now where all our prep is done. Our patty mix for our sliders is chilling in the oven. It's chilling in the oven. It's chilling in the refrigerator. I'm not going to make it to the end of the football match. As soon as these are nice and brown, we'll be ready to go. We can sit down, we can watch the first half. And then at half time, we put everything together and we'll have something to eat so you can either, you know, celebrate your victory or drown your sorrows in defeat. I'm a Melbourne man, so this season's a bit of a mixed bag. We'll figure it out. So while those are browning, you get stuck into the beer. And you get ready for the fellas to come around for the footy. All right, we're back. It's half time. D's are down by 2 goals. That's okay. I reckon we'll come strong in the third, right? But what we need to do is we make sure we've got enough to eat for the second half. So we're gonna pull out all our ingredients together, right? More beer, patty mix, and the salsa dip. All right, we need to go with the patty mix over the top of our buns. Or bums, whatever you want to call them, it's fine, whatever works. Let's get it spread nice and even over all of those buns that we chucked into our tray earlier. So this is all going to come together as one giant burger. Cream cheese, Philly, home brand, whatever. We're going to add our salsa dip to that. By now it's nice and cool. A healthy spoonful into there. So about half, maybe a little over half into there. With the chilies that we popped in before, that's got a decent kick to it. So that's why we're using the cream cheese. Right, we're gonna mix that through because the cream cheese is gonna calm that chili down a little bit. The more chili, the better as far as I'm concerned. Tabasco's great. The jalapenos are gonna be great. It's good, I love it, it's good. All right, the back of that spoon's just gonna smush it right in. So I've discovered whilst having a look at what I was gonna cook for this evening, I looked at some of the internet recipe sites, I looked at Pinterest, and you know what? For those of you out there, and I doubt there's many of you, but for those of you out there who don't know what Pinterest is, I'll let you know what Pinterest is, right? Pinterest is losing your significant other to their mobile phone for about 3 hours of an evening, then spending the next 4 weeks eating salads from a mason jar. That's exactly what Pinterest is. Just reasonably even. Obviously you don't want too many jalapeno peppers per slider. So on top of that, we're gonna add a little bit of cheese. Once again, Colby cheese, because that's gonna melt up really, really nicely. We've got our onions from earlier, just easily over the top, not too much, because we've already got onions in our salsa dip. More beer. And you don't have to keep an eye on which top is which or anything like that, that's fine. As long as you've got the right amount of tops per bum. We're gonna fancy it up a little bit. Just a couple of googs. Just a basting brush. We're just gonna go over the top of our buns. Now that's gonna go into the oven at about 200 for around about 15 to 20 minutes. And when you get a cheap ass oven like mine, when a recipe calls for 15 to 20 minutes, it means 20 minutes, minimum. We've got our sweet potato chips here. Nice big buggers into the deep fryer. Once that siren goes off, we'll have about 10 minutes left before 3/4 time starts up. Just enough time to serve up and have plenty of food for the back half of the game. All right, guys, half time's nearly done. Just need to quickly bring everything out of the oven, put it all together, take our chippies out of the fryer, we'll serve up, and we're ready for the back half. We'll have a little bit, shit, I forgot my beer, wait there. You know what, we'll just start a new one, whatever. And when I find the one that I couldn't find, it's like a happy surprise. Let's put them back into that bowl. This'll work. Let's check on the sliders. Have a look at that. That egg wash over the top, let's give it a nice little glow. Let's separate our burgers. Our little sliders here. Nice little crunch. There we go, see if we can get a nice little close up on that. The patties are browned, just browned. And that's exactly what you want. You don't want it overdone. Let's get them all in. You know what? I said just before, let's get a nice little small serving dish because it's gonna make it look like there's tons and tons of stuff. It's too bloody small. Look at that. Plate full of burgers for you and your mates. Bowl of chips. Nice little dip. Give it a rack. Beautiful. Hit the beers. Eat the burgers. Hope your team gets up. I've been Benny McGregor. Spicy sliders, sweet potato chips, salsa dip. Get into the footy, get it into you. Cheers. It's good. It's good. Ooh, ooh. It's a bit spicy. That's okay, background?
Yeah, that's okay.
That's okay? That's okay? You even have a fucking tea towel? Pumpkin. Hit the camera. Hate the first kind of little bit.
Yeah.
Hate the first little bit. And we're going to add some of our salsa dip to that. Let's grab it out of the fridge. It should be nice and cool. I've already grabbed it out of the fridge.